Tell me about ghost guns. That's the latest attack, particularly here in California, is to ban ghost guns. What are ghost guns?
Ghost guns. Ghost guns, that's a Democrat, another made-up Democrat term like quote-unquote assault weapon. Ghost guns are guns you build out of a kit, and people have been doing it forever. But you might buy a kit. Sometimes they call it an 80% kit. Sometimes they call it something else. But you buy a kit. It's not completely finished. Either the receiver of the pistol is not finished, or the receiver, which is the lower of the rifle, is not finished, and you have to finish it. You have to have the know-how to do it. You have to have the machinery to do it. And that machinery can be great or small depending on what you're working on. But it's not just something that anybody can do. And it can be expensive, and that's what the left leaves out. I have a 1911, which is a 45 ACP, quote-unquote ghost gun. I love it. I carry it open carry all the time. And by the time I was done building it, I believe the kit cost me $600. I believe by the time I was done building it and working on the parts so they fit well, I believe it cost me $2,700. So when the left tells me this is something that criminals are doing to get around background checks, I just laugh at them. They're nuts. Criminals are buying stolen guns out of trunks in Chicago. They're not building.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good point. I've never heard that before. So my understanding of the benefit of a ghost gun, if you're a criminal, is that it doesn't have like registration numbers on it and stuff like that, so you can commit crimes with them. Is that an argument?
I guess. Criminals been scraping off cereal for decades, though. And if you look, we studied in Chicago where criminals get guns. We went to a University of Chicago crime lab study, and we used it at Breitbart. And they showed these criminals get guns knowing they're going to use them to either kill somebody or hold up a store, then they're throwing them away. So that number is never attached to that criminal anyway. So I'm just not persuaded, Mike, that they care about the number on there. Because it's not like they went into a store and passed a background check with the gun anyway. They probably either stole it or bought it out of someone's trunk to begin with. So there's no way to trace it.
Yeah, of course. One thing that's left out of well, let me ask this question first, because this is under the line of made up things from the left. This term weapons of war. Gavin Newsom has been using this a lot in particular. These are weapons of war that have no place in society. What do you say to that term?
I mean, he's probably talking about a AR-15, which is a 223, which is the first two digits in it are 22. So it's a 22 rifle. Now, it's moving faster than a regular 22 long rifle. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but I don't think of it in the terms he does, weapon of war. Like I say, I'm hunting hogs tonight. I'm not hunting them with a 223. You can shoot a hog with a 223, and he laughs at you while he runs off with his friends for a drink. But I'll pop him with 500, and it's ball game. That's a real round. Newsom just doesn't know what's going on.
Of course. One thing that's left out of the conversation is defensive gun uses, right? We're always bombarded with the offensive gun uses, but no one ever talks about the defensive gun uses. Do you have any numbers on that or any perspective on how often that happens compared to illegal gun uses?
Right. Well, I mean, I would start with, what do we have? Gun deaths a year. We average, I'd say, between 36,000 and 40,000. Of those numbers, let's just take 40 because it's even. Of those 40, 10 to 12,000 are homicides. So you're looking at 10 to 12,000 homicides a year. The majority of the 40,000 are suicides. So they're not truly gun violence. So your gun violence figures would be 10 to 12,000 a year on average. If you look at defensive gun uses, and you look at the work of Gary Kleck out of Florida State University as a criminologist, you're looking at a minimum of 765 to 770,000 defensive gun uses a year. Completely eclipses the figures I gave you to start with. And so defensive gun uses, as I say, at 770,000, that's a minimum. And even that figure, it's important to point out, that doesn't mean the trigger's pulled 770,000 times. Many times the gun is brandished, and that's enough to send folks running. But having the gun made the difference. So defensive gun uses far outweigh criminal gun uses, but CNN will never talk about that.
Hey, Slater Crusaders, one of the absolute top priorities from the left, and they'll never stop, is to take away your Second Amendment right. They hate that you are able to protect your family and that you are responsible and that you are able to protect against a tyrannical government. I'm so sick of conservatives and Republicans pussyfooting on this issue. The reason for the Second Amendment is to protect against a potential tyrannical government. Period. End of story. Never back down on that argument. We have some amazing guests on our special about the Second Amendment. We'll analyze the latest Supreme Court ruling. We also have a firearms instructor who's going to help us walk through the parts of a gun, because there's people out there where guns are still scary, but they don't need to be. It's a tool just like any other tool. Arm yourself with the truth, with the facts, and with the First TV app. And you can download that for free at thefirsttv.com.